Hello my loves. Right, I have the lovely Amber in today. I've prepped her nails. I've applied the Glitter Planet pre-pinched stiletto tips. I've primed, I've dehydrated and primed. And I'm going in with a thin clear base on, 3 of the 5 nails. The other 2 are going to be nude, so they don't need it. So I'm just going to do that. We're doing a beautiful floral dried flower design, but with autumn feels to it. So yes. I've also blended the tips slightly. These are the old style pre-pinched stiletto tips. I know that Lorna now does some slightly less pinched ones, and they're thinner and more pliable. These are the old ones that I still have. So once I've done that, she's got lovely hands. It's funny, isn't it, when you look at people's hands? Huh? You've got lovely hands. I don't know what I'm doing now. I'm faffing around. No, I'm going to go back to the pinky. I'm sure I do. There you go. I'm chatting. That's what I'm doing. I'll link everything that I've used in the description box. I'm just going to paint a little bit of clear on, and we're going to work with some dried flowers. I think these are from Glitterarty. I've had these for a while. So I'm going to place them down. They're not easy to work with. I find with this kind, if you wet your brush, that makes it easier. But with the second kind I use, these are very stiff. So if you know of any easier ways than literally squelching your fingers into the acrylic, which is not ideal, then let me know, because yeah. But whatever it takes to make them stick, right? I'm just going to hold them in place. And then I've got these beautiful little gold flakes that was sent to me by Amy G from Edge Nails. She's released a collection. They were sent to me like months and months ago, and I haven't really had anything to do to use them. They're a very nice tone of gold. They're not a yellow gold. They're a gold. So I thought I'd use these because the tone of that gold really went well with the other colours that I'm using in the set. I know it sounds strange, but sometimes it's worth having different shades of gold, because they're not all match, and some are more yellow toned, some are more rose toned. Just taking that little side bit and making sure he's sticking down. Okay, onto this nail. We're doing a full nail of white acrylic, and the white I'm using is from Diamond Nail Supplies. I've got a couple of different whites. I don't like working with white. I'll be honest with you, I hate it. I might hate it more than black. I'm not sure. Or I might hate them both equally. They're just super pigmented, and I don't know. This one was a bit patchy, but that's probably me. But I only need it as a white base because I'm going to do a design over the top of it, so I'm not overly fussed. The reason I did a thin clear base, even though white is technically a core powder, is because my core system is Nailmate with this set. So I'm using a different system of white. So I want to just ensure that my base and my cap is the same system. So just need a thin white background. And then onto this is going to be Toasted Rose. So I'll apply my first bead at the join line where the tip has been applied. And I'm tilting that nail down and letting the product do the work for me. Just letting it flow down. And then I'm just going to start patting and pulling it into place. And then after I'm happy with that, I do faff about with it a lot, but the more work you do now, the less work you've got to do when you file in, and no one likes filing. So I'll get it all into place and play around with it until I'm happy, because these tips are incredibly curved, so you need to make sure that you've got an even thickness across the whole tip. once I'm happy with that, I'll apply my cuticle bead. So placing a bead at the cuticle, let it polymerize, and just let gravity help you on your journey, tucking it in, and then just work it down the nail. Take it for a walk. And as long as you kind of constantly go side to side, you won't get too much product movement. You just need to pay attention to those sides. I think that was the main area when I was learning nails. The main area I struggled with was product. If my ratio was a little bit too wet, my product might start to sort of whoop down the side, or if the room is cold. And I'm just applying another bead there for my apex. Get a bit of strength in there. You don't need to pull that down the sides, it more needs to stay in the central part of the nail. Beautiful system, nice and smooth. And as long as I'm happy with that, we'll move on to the next nail. This is going to be another floral nail. So although I've got a thin clear base, I want to re-wet that nail. And we'll go in with one of the little yellow flowers again. Same kind of thing. We'll apply them, moisten them if necessary to keep them in place, and then add some of that beautiful Amy G Gold Flake around it. Onto the thumb, and that's going to be a full nail of toasted rose again. So place my bead on, tuck in that top edge, and just walk the bead down the nail. Again, gravity is doing the work for you. I know it looks like the nail is to the side. It's not. My camera is to the side. I need an overhead filming angle to make it a little bit easier. But we're just working that product down the nail. This set turned out so beautifully, and yeah, I really liked the combination of flowers with autumnal colours. It worked. We're just not ready to let go of pretty petals just yet. Again, keeping those edges tucked in. Do the work with your brush. Then you won't hurt your arms filing. And I'm picking up my cuticle bead, placing that on, and then tucking it in. You don't want that product to be bulky at the cuticle, because you will end up with a step, and also it causes stress. So if you've got a bulky cuticle area, when you're doing your filing, it could cause the start of lifting. So you want a nice smooth cuticle area, as if that nail is kind of growing out from under, so it's not kind of stepping up, which can be achieved with your filing, but when you're placing your product, just if you keep it quite thin, you'll know. Okie dokie, we're going to cap these now. So I've just quickly moistened the nail with my brush with a bit of monomer, placing a nice bead of Nail Mate Crystal Clear, and I'm just going to let it work. I don't get air bubbles with this clear, and I think it's double milled, so that could be why, but I don't get air bubbles, so I'm just going to let it do its thing and just use my brush as more like a guide. So I'm touching the product, making sure it flows in the direction I want it to flow in, but I'm not splatting my brush and kind of having to mess about with it too much. It's got a real glass-like clarity to it, which is probably the closest you're going to get to a hard gel. And then just another little bead there. Just want to build up that structure a little bit. Beautiful. I'm checking the nail from all angles. Obviously, because these tips are so incredibly pinched, you don't need to pinch these nails at all. And you do get a very nice ballerina nail out of them. But the tips are a little bit difficult to work with as they are tightly pinched, and they are hard to fit. If you've got somebody who's got quite flat nail plate, then you would struggle to fit these. But she's brought out loads of different ones since I got these way back. Same again, I'm going to place that bead on, tuck it in and walk it down the nail. So I don't need to cap Toasted Rose, that is a core powder, but I'm going to go in, as you see I wetted down this nail, apply a nice bead of clear, tuck it right in with the very tip of your brush, and then just guide it down the nail. Let it flow, let it flow, let it flow. Sorry, it's Monday. Oh, Nino's going past. Okay, so then I'm just going to use my brush to gently tease that product into place. It self-levels really well, smooths out beautifully. And then I'm going to faff about with it a bit because that's what I do best. Faffing about with stuff. Making sure that's not on the skin there because I could see it creeping down at the side. I don't want that. Okie dokie. I don't know how long I faff with this for, but it's too long. It's so I don't have to do as much work with the file. That's why I'm doing it. And you might find when you use really pinched tips that you do have to kind of play about with it a little bit more. So I've filed, buffed and wiped over with a little bit of acetone, and I'm going in with Madame Glam's Deep Burgundy. Such a beautiful colour. Really gorgeous colour. I'll do 2 layers of that, curing each one for 30 seconds. And I'll use my little detailer brush to go around the cuticle area, especially as it's a very, very dark pigmented colour. makes it a lot easier to get it neat. Just make sure you see where I'm using my pinky finger and anchoring it onto my other hand. You need to lean on something because otherwise you will have little micro wobbles and that will just cause you stress. So that will go in my lamp. Onto the other hand, do exactly the same thing. Now those are cured, I'm going on to, I've applied top coat to the white nail and then buffed it. And I've also wiped over the burgundy nails with isopropyl alcohol to remove any inhibition layer. And I'm applying my Angel Crystals adhesive. These are the Swarovski Clear Shimmer. They've got this gorgeous gold and turquoise shimmer, which just matches the kind of theme. That's from the round flatback mixed pack. And I'm doing the same on the burgundy nailed, slightly bigger stones. Look how gorgeous they are. We were going to go with the Aurum Gold, but we had those last time. So we thought we'd go something different. Absolutely gorgeous. And then I'm going to do some ink. These are from Born Pretty. They were sent to me to use and review. I love them. They're really beautiful. And I've literally used both the shades of kind of orangey brown, a red and a turquoisey shade. And I've just laid it up. Or just random, don't, think about it too much. But layers are good because when you cut through it with your either isopropyl alcohol or some people use acetone, which is what I used, you'll find that it kind of opens up and just gives it more depth if you've got a few layers. Again, it's very random, so there's no, law as to how to do it, but there are general tips, I guess. And then once I'm happy with that, I'm going to go in with my matte top coat. So the middle nails will be matte and the floral nails will be gloss. And I'll use a detailer brush to go around those Swarovski crystals. You don't want to go over them because they've got these beautiful facets cut into them, which is why they shimmer so beautifully. So the last thing you want to do is cover those. Then these crystals will stay super shiny until she comes for her next set in 3 weeks. They don't scuff or graze or lose their shine. They're absolutely perfect. And then we'll apply our super gloss. So beautiful. And we'll cure all these in the lamp. We're going to do exactly the same thing on the other hand. I've skipped some of it and shown you bits of it, but I was covering it with my hand when I did the design. So you can see me applying the ink, but the rest of it is the back of my hand. So I didn't keep all that footage in because that would be really boring for you. So we're just doing the same thing, just random blobs of different colours. I like the way they all mix because you start kind of making new colours, don't you? So it's very pretty. And yeah, I'll just do that, mess about with it, go in with my brush, and then that's the final reveal. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Tally bye!